Let's talk through some of our specific tactics and strategies, that could be legitimate and whether or not they work.
Just a lot of noise. And everyone's trying to jump on the bandwagon of being the first thought leader about this specific topic in their little segment or in their group. At the end of the day, it's all just leaning into fear marketing.
All right, my friends. For sure, AI is the hot topic. And anytime you have a hot trend, especially in digital marketing, you attract some grifters. It is just the way of things. We need to separate the wheat from the chaff, figure out currently, at 2025, what does SEO for AI look like? I've been thinking about it because I got a pitch for this show recently. And, after doing some research, some due diligence, discovered I just didn't think the person was legitimate in their claims. And so I said, all right, what does AI for SEO look like? And I started talking to some folks. I started trying to figure it out on my own. And then I got to discussing with a previous SEO expert guest who's been on the show, Jason Berkowitz from Break the Web. And we talked through it and we came to an agreement on like, okay, this is what's real, this is what's not, and this is what's not yet. And so I want to help you avoid the scams and put your store in the best possible position for a potential AI future, while also, being realistic about what does and doesn't work. So with that long-winded intro, I'm Kurt Elster. This is the Unofficial Shopify podcast, and I'd like to welcome Jason Berkowitz from Break the Web. Jason, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Kurt. It's a pleasure to be here again. And of course, it's always fun to chat with you because you just like cutting through the BS and getting right to the point and talking about like what works right now, what doesn't, what's noise, and what is shiny out there, and really just helping people. So I love having these chats with you.
Let's hear some background. How long have you been doing SEO?
I feel like I've been saying 10 years, like you try to round certain numbers, and
Right.
now I'm rounding to 15 years at this point. So all these different shifts and landscape changes that are taking place, it's kind of like, just another day in the world of SEO, because when I started, everything was vastly different in the way we did things. So we're in another evolution, really.
All right, so we've been doing this a similar amount of time. I have been involved with Shopify almost 15 years, uh, and have seen things change quite a bit over time. I want to know: is SEO evolving? Is it changing?
I think SEO plus just marketing in general, digital marketing is definitely changing. I think the audience and consumers are changing and they're always adapting. New generations are getting older, which makes marketing methods have to evolve and adapt. But SEO in particular, yeah, very much changing and also very much being impacted with all the noise out there at this moment.
Have you seen some outlandish claims regarding AI and SEO?
I
I know
think,
I have.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always something to sell from somebody, whether it's valuable or beneficial. That's a different subject. But right now, people, I mean, just an outlandish claim that you can optimize and offer whatever acronym you want to call it, GEO, AIO, whatever it might be, as a service is laughable because there's no proven framework of success. There's nothing that that I have data to back up that if I do this, this, and this, it's going to give me the true measurable outcome I'm looking for. So that's one of them. Talking on the topic of charlatans, there's websites out there that are advertising their AI optimization service. And I hope nobody's paying for that as a line item just yet. I mean, let somebody at least collect data. And most of the information out there is not that different than just regular SEO.
I think these grifts gain traction so easily because it's just an attractive proposition and it feels truthy. You're like, hey, spend a a few $100, $1,000, or a recurring subscription fee, and we can help you appear more often in these recommendations. And what I think people don't know is these tools are so new and evolving so quickly. None of us really have any idea, and that's why it's so tough to make those promises, and offer these things. And that's, I think, why we're seeing a lot of grifts pop up, because people are also willing, to chase that shiny toy. Let's talk through some of our specific tactics and strategies, that could be legitimate and whether or not they work. And I think the first is this concept of llms.txt. You're familiar with this?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. And the idea is like if you go to any website, you could it's like acme.com. You go to acme.com/robots.txt. It is a standard for describing how a search engine should handle a website. Sitemap.xml, a standardized form to be like, hey, here's every index on the site for a search engine. And so someone said, hey, well, let's propose a standard for AI. It's called llms.txt, in which essentially it's like a human readable plain text overview of the site where you try and point it to what's important, with the thinking being that like AI also has finite resources. And so if it has an option to cut through the noise while running through a website, they'll take it just to reduce their energy usage because it adds up. It's expensive across all these queries for them. The problem is it's a proposed standard. So there's no actual evidence this thing gets used, right?
You just nailed it. It's a proposal. It's like me saying, "Hey, every website on the web should just link to breaktheweb.agency." It's like a proposal doesn't mean anything. Especially when these platforms have no one's admitted that they even recognize LLMs.txt. Some ironically use it, but they don't. They use it for like their wiki and their knowledge base stuff for organization of information. And maybe that's just their way of being clever and trolling people. Who knows? But people like these platforms aren't reliant on LLMs.txt to gain information about a brand, a website. We know that they can crawl pages. We know that they cannot render JavaScript. So everything should be in the HTML of a website. And if we're going to give AI the credit that I think a lot of people are trying to give it to, how advanced it is, then why should an LLMs.txt be required to tell the platforms where to navigate and how to navigate a page and what specific topics a given page is about? But yeah, it's a proposal. I mean, you can do it. It doesn't negatively impact you, but it doesn't mean anything's going to be implemented ever.
One that I'm pretty sure works is structured data, like what Google uses for rich snippets. Where you add extra markup to a page, and Shopify themes do this now out of the box, where it'll describe you're on a product page, and it will like describe that in a machine readable format in a syntax called JSON. The structured data. We know that works for Google, right? For getting more info. Does this apply to AI?
That again, I think is yet to be determined. I don't think there's any proof. None of these platforms have discussed their ranking signals or what influences things. Yeah, JSON-LD markup, which awesome name of that code, and other structured data can help feed information to Google Merchant Center. They say now that Google Merchant Center integrates with your product feed, and then Google's crawling your website, they should be able to put two pieces together without the structured data. But that is also one of those instances where it doesn't hurt to get it in. And then, of course, product rich results. So the stars under your listing and the search results, the price, the availability, the shipping costs, those are all things that attract people's eyes and get the click from search specifically. And the impact it has directly on AI platforms, I still think it's yet to be determined. I mean, if these platforms are reading the HTML and you have the JSON-LD in the HTML, then maybe just by providing more concise information may be beneficial, but that same concise information should also be in your product pages anyways. I think again, yeah, JSON-LD might be making a comeback. And again, there's people just talking about the impact it has on AI platforms or AI optimization for SEO.
But if they are, it's purely speculation, though, isn't it?
Everything is. Yeah. Just a lot of noise. And everyone's trying to jump on the bandwagon of being the first thought leader about this specific topic in their little segment and their group. At the end of the day, it's all just leaning into fear marketing.
So with the structured data, the JSON-LD, that's another one where that's best practice for SEO anyway, and best practice for Shopify themes. So it's like that probably already works for your store. If you wanted to test this, Google has a tool, the rich snippet testing tool. Just Google rich snippet testing tool. Drop your product page in, and it will confirm for you, like, hey, there's a product snippet. It looks good. Hey, there's a review snippet. It looks good. And then, all right, you're optimized there. And at this point, the chances are you are optimized for it. What about content strategy? Content strategy was always so important with SEO.
I mean, content strategy for SEO has definitely changed a little bit with Google's release of the AI overviews. We've seen a big shift in super top of the funnel informational content, seeing a pretty significant, for the most part, reduction in clicks. But if you are ranking in the top 5 of Google, even better increase in impressions. And that's never really a good one when impressions go up, but clicks go down. Usually things should go up nicely together. And that's been Google just taking traffic away with AI mode and Google AI overviews for super top of the funnel. So content strategies should shift a little bit more to middle of the funnel, navigational type queries to help people in buyer's mode. First off, people are more likely to convert. The intent of that search has a much higher conversion value than someone who's looking for what makes up a good walking shoe. So as we adapted things, first off, I also want to mention that there's people saying out there, grifters, that top of the funnel or informational content is dead, which is dumb. Maybe it's dead for SEO and organic, but like thought leadership, brand visibility, PR, email, social, this all very much serves a place in the whole digital marketing sector as a
As
whole.
soon as
So
I get suspicious, as soon as I hear like X is dead, never
yeah,
do Y again. Because yeah, I've been around long enough to hear that, desktop browsing was dead, web browsing was dead, email was dead. None of those things are dead, right? We have added other channels, that share those spaces, but none of all these things are still around. And this is one of those things where like this conversation will be very different, in 12 to 18 months. And just recently Shopify announced these AI specific features that really, several of them not available to anyone right now, but meant for, this is what is coming down the line. This is what to expect. And it's Shopify catalog, which is a way to feed, the entire Shopify product catalog to an AI agent, and global cart, and they announced as well, where if I am on multiple stores, this at least this is my interpretation of it. Like, there's not a lot of info here, but if I've got an AI agent like ChatGPT that says, "Hey, you should buy, this shoe and this sock would be like the best running combo," and they're from two different stores, it's going to give me like a product card. I can add it to cart, right there. It's probably going to like load up in the shop app, and then I can just buy it. That's what I envision is a shopping modality in the near future that this happens. Um, how do you see it playing out yourself?
I mean, based on the information shared, I think you nailed it. It's probably really good mutual PR from various different platforms to raise valuations overall. I think there probably is going to be a world where you can, very similar to Google Shopping, which nobody really uses, make a purchase directly in a platform without visiting a website. But I think that would also require a big shift in consumer behavior.
So, I mean, there's a lot of randomness, there's misinformation, there's just so I think the key phrase here is we don't know, right? It is so new and evolves so quickly. Rather than ask, how do I optimize for AI? I think a better question is, should I even be thinking about it, right? Is this even a current ongoing concern?
Concern? No. Thinking about it? Yeah. I think it's beneficial to have a pulse on the changing landscape of technology. The best SEOs that have been around, if you knew SEOs 15 years ago that are still absolutely killing it today, it's because they have the trait of evolving and adapting and accepting. And the older we get, the more stubborn we get, and the willingness to adapt and evolve decreases significantly. So things are changing right now and things are going to continue to change. But the swiftness of a great SEO will be put to the test in their willingness to adapt and evolve, and other marketers as well. So having it as a concern, maybe not being aware of what's taking place, absolutely, because also there's a lot of data to show that really good SEO just helps with really good visibility in these platforms in AI mode, in AI overviews, ChatGPT, Claude. So when you think about like, oh, the more times your brand appears on the web, you're more likely to be more favorable in these AI platforms. Okay, cool. Digital PR and link building, same thing. Really good SEO now, from like any correlations that people are seeing, is is just good SEO with these platforms.
Yeah, so we know, all right, the one-time things that we could do is just like general SEO stuff. Robots.txt, make sure we've not excluded robots, because that's how OpenAI will access the site. If you're technical, you could do this llms.txt thing. It's like 20 minutes of screwed around if you have to do the research. It's not a big deal. Probably doesn't do anything, doesn't hurt anything either. The structured data, if you're on Shopify, it probably already does it just fine, but verify it. I think that's helpful. Um, Within the Shopify catalog and your product listings, they're increasingly, they're leaning on additional taxonomy, and so make sure that is right, and correct and consistent for your products. Like, what's product category, what's product type, you got the weight filled out, do you have an ISP, like whatever info you have, put it in there. It's not gonna hurt, and especially knowing that ChatGPT and others are gonna ingest these product catalog feeds, absolutely get that info in there now. But beyond that, it's like, those traditional content SEO efforts are what's gonna win, it seems.
Yeah. I mean, Gemini uses Google Shopping, so like you just said, filling
Of
out
course it
all
does.
yeah, filling out all the attributes available, connecting with Merchant Center, seeing if there's Merchant Center issues. There might be a point actually in OpenAI, you can submit a form to join a beta program to submit your product feed
I
to
sent all my clients
ChatGPT.
that link
So did
today.
I. Oh,
Yeah,
I did it a few days ago. I uploaded every single client and made me the contact because I want to be the one to know if something happens. And that's just like you're joining a potential wait list to see, and who knows where they are in that, if they've gotten it figured out. But yeah, really good product images. That's always been a good one, like quality images and a few images if you can, all the G10s, weight variables, all the different stock availabilities. If you do have reviews on your products, get that in there as well. Connect with uh, Google reviews, seller ratings, increase your shopping score overall. Get those aggregate reviews and aggregate ratings in your JSON-LD schema as well. It's a lot of brands that have reviews on their product pages, but are missing aggregate ratings, which means that they're the ones that stick out without the star ratings in a negative way in those specific instances. Yeah, just good on page SEO and good off page SEO.
100%. Yeah. Okay. So this is not, I mean, the good news, the takeaway here is this is not as hard to optimize for as you might think. And in many cases, it's you probably already did it. Which is great. All right, final question. Where can we go to learn more about you?
You can go to breaktheweb.agency. You can Google Break the Web, and you can find me on LinkedIn.
I appreciate it. Jason Berkowitz, Break the Web Agency. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kurt. This was awesome.